Alright, so today we're gonna look at Michael Jordan, Basketball Hall of Fame enrichment speech. My name is Ermo. I run a company called Authentik Studio. We worked with brands like BBC, National Geographic, Discovery Channel, David Attenborough, Aaron Epke. So we know quite a bit about, in particular, authentic storytelling. I've never watched this video, so this is the first time I'm gonna watch it, but I got a recommendation with the help of good old ChatGPT. So let's have a look at it, and yeah, let's talk about his authentic storytelling.
Skywalker, class of 1996, David Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah, by the way, I'm not gonna play this whole video, right? It's just apparently the beginning of this video is very good with storytelling, and there's a lot of emotion going on. So.
Thank you.
There we go. That's the first thing, guys. Vulnerability, right? Without even saying a word, you see everybody in the audience being vulnerable. Now, obviously, it's his career and what he all did, and you know, people know what he's gonna get here. But also, with any storytelling, vulnerability is key.
Thank you.
See how a big man becomes a small little boy like that, huh?
I told all my friends I was going to come up here and say thank you and walk off. I can't. There's no way. I got so many people I can thank. In all the videos, you never just saw me. You saw Scottie Pippen. Every championship I won. I've had a lot of questions over the last 4 weeks, and everybody's saying, well, why did you pick David Thompson? I know why, and David knows why, and maybe you guys don't know why, but as I grew...
So here's already, again, a very powerful storytelling technique, and I don't think he's doing this on purpose, right? So what he instantly provokes is mystery, right? So he knows why, David Thompson knows why, but I'm not sure if you know why. Also powerful technique.
I grew up in North Carolina. I was 11 years old, 1974, I think, when you guys won the championship. And I was an anti-Carolina guy. I hated UNC. And here I ended up at UNC. But I was in love with David Thompson. Not just for the game of basketball, but in terms of what he represented. You know, we all, as Vivian said, we go through our trials and tribulations. And he did. And I was inspired by him. And when I called him and asked him to stand up for me, I know I shocked the shit out of him. I know I did.
You see, so it is also cool because obviously he goes, you know, the standard story framework, he goes back in time. He met the man. It's all very vulnerable, there's tears, and then this very important aspect is to release the pressure, right? And he does that beautifully by saying, oh, I'm standing up in front of him and he realized that too, right? So also beautiful element he throws in there, because it goes from vulnerability to humor, and these two, if you can combine them well, you have the audience hooked.
But he was very, very kind and said, yeah, I do it. And now that wasn't a disrespect to any of my Carolina guys. They all know that I'm true blue Carolina guy to the heart. You know, Coach Smith, Larry Brown, Sam Perkins, James Worthy, you know, all of those guys. Well, it all starts with my parents. You guys see all the highlights. What is it about me that you guys don't know? As I sat up here and I watch all the other recipients stand up here and they give their history, and so many things I didn't know about Jerry Sloan. I know he lived on the farm, but I didn't know he was in a small classroom from first grade to the 8th grade. Even David Robinson, obviously I've known David for some time, and you know, I found some things out about him, and even with John, I found some bad things or good things about him, and even Viv, I've known Viv for years, and her and my father and my mom spent a lot of time on the Nike trips, and you know, I found out a lot of good things about her. But what about me that you guys don't know? I got 2 brothers.
There we go. What about me, right? No matter where you at right now, right? Like if it's maybe in your personal life, maybe you want to find love, or you want to have better relationships, or in your business, the what about me question is very important. Okay, and of course you got to be careful that, let's say you're on a date and you're not starting to talk only about yourself. But I think in particular in business, and also of course in dating, is like the what about me question in a vulnerable answer and authentic. That's nothing more powerful than that. That's it. That's what it's about.
James and Larry. They're 5'4", 5'5" in height.
Again,
They gave me all I could ever ask for as a brother in terms of competition. You know, you would think that, you know, my brother Larry is a ideal situation where small things come in small packages. This dude fought me every single day. And to the extent that my mother used to come out and make us come in because we were fighting way too much. And my older brother was always gone. He served in the Army for 31 years. And the competition didn't stop there. My sister, who's 1 year younger than me, Roz, never wanted to be home by herself. She took classes, extra classes, to graduate from high school with me, to go to University of North Carolina with me, and to graduate prior than me. And you guys sit and ask me, where's my competition? Or
see, what's also powerful in this is that like, it has an additional layer. Like he's talking about the people, and the people are there, and you see the reactions of them too, right? So of course you can't always do that in your storytelling, but at least what you could do is try to create the character, like sketch the character in front of your audience, right? Like, so try to explain it.
my competitive nature came from? It came from them. It came from my older sister. Yeah, she was not here today, and my father, who's not here today, obviously he's with us and all of us. I mean, my competitive nature has gone a long way from the first time I picked up any sport. Baseball, football, ran track, basketball, anything that missed class, I played it. When you think about, so they started the fire in me. That fire started with my parents. And then, as I moved on in my career, people added wood to that fire. Coach Smith, what else can I say about him? He's a legendary in the game of coaching. And then there's Leroy Smith. Now, you gotta think that's a myth. Leroy Smith was a guy, when I got cut, he made the team, on the varsity team. And he's here tonight. He's still the same 6'7" guy. He's not any bigger. His game is about the same. But he started the whole process with me because when he made the team and I didn't, I wanted to prove not just to Leroy Smith, not just to myself, but to the coach who actually picked Leroy over me. I wanted to make sure you understood you made a mistake, dude.
See, like, he also has this certain character, right? Like, he's a bit cocky at times. What also serves him, again, because you saw also that vulnerability, right? So then you have the chance to also be a little bit more cocky and a little bit more arrogant at times. If he would start beating his chest from the beginning, it would be a different story. Okay, so it's a dance, right, between it all. And of course, you can only imagine the banter, right? Like, as young kids or boys making fun of each other. I mean, that's what it's about, right? We all love these friendships, and you know where you stand with each other, right?
And then there's Buzz Peterson, my roommate. Now, when I first met Buzz, all I heard about was this kid from Asheville, North Carolina, who's a player of the year. I'm thinking, well, he ain't never played against me yet. So how did he become player of the year? Is that some type of media, exposure? I came from Wilmington. We had two channels, channel ABC and channel 7, channel NBC. That was it. I never saw NBA sports at all when I grew up. You didn't have CBS affiliation in North Carolina, in Wilmington. So Buzz Peterson became a dot on my board. And when I got the chance to meet Buzz Peterson on the basketball court or in person, Buzz was a great person. It wasn't a fault of his. It was just in my competitive nature. I didn't think he could beat me, or he was better than me as a basketball player. And he became my roommate. And from that point on, he became a focal point, not knowingly. He didn't know it. But he did. And Coach Smith, the day that he was on the Sports Illustrated and he named 4 starters and he didn't name me, that burned me up. Because I thought I belonged on that Sports Illustrated. Now, he had his own vision about giving a freshman that exposure, and I totally understand that, but from a basketball sense, I deserve to be on that Sports Illustrated, and he understands that. And it didn't stop there. My competitive nature went right into the pros. I get to the Bulls, which I was very proud that at the time Jerry Reinsdorf didn't own the team. It was another organization, and Rob Thorne drafted me. Kevin Lockett was my first coach. Kevin used to take practices and put me in the starting 5, and he'd make it a competitive thing where the losing team have to run. So now I'm on the winning team, and halfway in the game, halfway in the situation, he would switch me to the losing team. So I take that as a competitive thing by you trying to test me. And by 9 times out of 10, the second team would come back and win no matter what he did. So I appreciate Kevin Lockett for giving me that challenge, providing that type of fire within me. He threw another log on that fire for me.
Challenge, very important aspect. Right, hero's journey. If you don't know what it is, you can Google it. But it's just a standard journey of, a lot of movies. And challenge is essential. Right? Challenge is essential for all of us to grow, and perseverance is often what is needed to go through. And of course, there's also like you have the teachers, the coach over here, the wizards. Think about Lord of the Rings, and there's also the rivals. Right, you probably is going to talk about that too. Right, but right now we're in the part where there's an opportunity handed to him, and now he needs to prove himself in a team, and there's certain challenges coming up.
Jerry Reinsdorf. I mean, what else can I say? The next year I come back, I broke my foot, I was out for 65 games, and when I came back, I wanted to play. Here in the doctors, they came up with this whole theory that you can only play 7 minutes a game, but I'm practicing 2 hours a day. I'm saying, well, I don't agree with that math, And back then, it was about whoever had the worst record get the most balls in the ping pong balls, and you can decide what pick you're gonna have. But I didn't care about that. I just wanted to win. I wanted to make the playoffs. I wanted to keep that energy going in Chicago. So I had to go in his office and sit down with him. I said, Jerry, I feel like I should play more than 14 minutes. I'm practicing 2 hours. Right, he says, MJ, I think I have to protect the long term of investment that we've invested in you. And I said, Jerry, I really think I should be able to play. He said, let me ask you this. He said, if you had a headache, and
Okay, this is probably an important part. I'm gonna listen to this part over here. I'm just gonna also look where the most engagement is, and then after I'm gonna go down to the end, because I think, in between this, there's not gonna be very important stuff happening for us to talk about. Of course, watch the video if you want to in full, but I think right now he's gonna jump into something important. So I'm going to slow it down. He just said something.
I really think I should be able to play. He said, let me ask you this. He said, if you had a headache, and at that time it was about 10% chance that I can re-injure my ankle or my foot. He says, if you have a headache and you got 10 tablets and one of them is coated with cyanide, would you take the Tylenol? And I looked at him, I said, how bad is the headache? Depending on how bad the headache. Jerry looked at me and said, "You okay? I guess that's a good answer. You can go back and play." He let me allow to go back and play. And you know, Jerry provided a lot of different obstacles for me, but at the same time, the guy gave me an opportunity to perform at the highest level in terms of basketball. And the Bulls, the whole Bulls organization, you know, they did a great justice for me and for all my teammates. Believe me, I had a lot of teammates over the 14 years that I played for the Bulls, and you know, I respected each and every one of them. I just wanted to win, you know, no matter how you look at it. And then along came Doug Collins, who was caught in the whole mix of this, Jerry Krause and Jerry Reinsdorf, and you know, at the same time, he, you know, when I was trying to play in the summertime, he said, "Well, you know, you're a part of the organization, and the organization said you can't play in the summertime." I said, "Doug, you hadn't read the fine print in my contract. And my contract said I had the love of the game clause. That means I can play anytime I want, any place I want." And Doug looked at me and said, "Yeah, you're right. You're right." And that's how we became, you know, a little closer in terms of Doug Collins and myself. And you know, Jerry Krause is right there, and Jerry's not here. Obviously, I don't know who invited him. I didn't, but I hope he understands. I hope he understands it goes a long way, and he was a very...
You see, like, what is interesting is, what really stands out here is the dynamic between the guys. Like, you can only imagine constantly, let's say you're a fly on the wall, and they're practicing and training, and, you know, the coach is intense probably, right? Like, really showing them how it's done. And of course there's a lot of agitation also going on while you're training, and maybe things don't work out, but you need to listen to the coach, la la la. So there is a certain relationship what's been built through the years, and you can see it over and over again. He's having banter, right? Like, he's making fun of them, and now he can, because of course he's extremely successful. At the time, I'm pretty sure he couldn't, right? So there's a huge respect from both sides, in a humoristic way. What is amazing to see.
Competitive person. I was a very competitive person. He said organization wins championships. I said I didn't see organization playing with the flu in Utah. I didn't see him playing with, you know, with the bad ankle. Granted, I think organization put together a team, but at the end of the day, the team's got to go out and play. You know, so in essence, I think the players win the championship, and the organization has something to do with it. Don't get me wrong.
So this is interesting. This, I think, has much to do actually with the AI we're in right now, the AI revolution, right? That's also where our business is focused on. It's we cut through the AI noise by authentic human storytelling. Okay, so we go a little bit against the grain, but we don't say, like, don't use AI. Right? And that's what he's saying over here too. Right? The players play the game. Humans tell the story. Of course, we can use AI to help us in certain aspects, but at the end of the day, we are the ones, since the dawn of time, who have been telling stories, who will keep telling stories, and in particular right now, if you learn the art of authentic storytelling, then yeah, it's going to be extremely powerful. Also, by the way, we have a guide what can help you. So you can send a 2-minute video on our website, click the link down below, of yourself, and we're going to help you with actually creating your documentary style voice in the sphere. Okay, so that might be interesting also for you.
But don't try to put the organization above the players, because at the end of the day, the players still got to go out there and perform. You guys got to pay us, but I still got to go out and play. Obviously, you see my kids, you know.
All right, let's go.
That you guys probably have seen.
So
last one at my best, at my level, because that is when I feel like I excel at my best. And my last example of that, and the last one that you guys probably have seen, I hate to do it to him, but he's such a nice guy. And when I first met Brian Russell, John and Carl remember this. I was in Chicago in 1994. I was working out for baseball. They came down for a workout and shoot around. I came over to say hello. And at this time, I had no thoughts of coming back and playing a game of basketball. And Brian Russell came over to me and said, "You know what, man, why did you quit? why'd you quit? You know I can guard you. If I ever see you in a pair of shorts, if I ever see you in a pair of shorts. You remember this, John? And so when I did decide to come back in 1995, and then we played Utah in 96, I'm at the center circle, and Brian Russell sitting next to me, and I look over to Brian. I said, "You remember this conversation you made in 1994 about I think I can guard you, I can shut you down, I would love to play against you. Well, you're about to get your chance."
I'm not sure if he likes it. But yeah.
And believe me, ever since that day, he got his chance. I don't know how succeeding he was, but I think he had his chance, and believe me, I relished on that point, and from this day forward, if I ever see him in shorts, I'm coming at him.
There we go, he strikes one more time, right? Like he's like, he proved himself. Now what he has a foot to stand on, so he knows, and that's also very important. Like when you tell a story or you're looking for your story, your hero's journey, whatever it is, know your place, right? Like the audience who is listening is important. And I said that before, like, of course, if maybe you create a YouTube video and you know your targeted audience, or you are at an interview and you want to tell a story, is different, right? So and he knows that very well over here, obviously. I mean,
I know you guys got to go. I know I've been up here a lot longer than I told my friends I was going to be up here. I cried. I was supposed to get up here and say thank you and walk off, and I didn't even do that. So being in the Basketball Hall of Fame, I don't look at this moment as a defining end to my relationship. I'm recognized, perseverance, the optimism, and the expect form, and no one's intense, find comfort and peace. As I close,
this is the last part.
the game of basketball has been everything to me. My refuge, my place I've always gone when I needed to find comfort and peace. It's been a source of intense pain and a source of most intense feelings of joy and satisfaction, and one that no one can even imagine. It's been a relationship that has evolved over time and has given me the greatest respect and love for the game. It's provided me with a platform to share my passion with millions in a way I neither expected nor could have imagined in my career. I hope that it's given the millions of people that I've touched the optimism and the desire to achieve their goals through hard work, perseverance, and positive attitude. Although I'm recognized with this tremendous honor of being in the Basketball Hall of Fame, I don't look at this moment as a defining end to my relationship with the game of basketball.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm having goosebumps. And why? Is because he does the dance again. He goes back into the human side of things, the vulnerability, right? As he said, he knows where he's standing, right? People look up to him. He impacted millions of lives, but he will never forget where he came from. He will never forget the game of basketball.
It's simply a continuation of something that I started a long time ago. One day you might look up and see me playing the game at 50. Oh, don't laugh. Don't laugh. Never say never. Because limits, like fears, are often just an illusion. Thank you very much. Look forward to it.
Yeah, of course, he goes out with a bang, right? Like, he leaves us with something important to remember, and that's obviously a motivation. And he can do that. Right now we see, unfortunately, a lot of people these days who don't really have the credits to do motivation speeches. You know, although, I mean, everybody to a certain extent can do it, I think, and you need to start somewhere. But at least it's good to have some recognition before you at least stand in front of an audience like that and, you know, have that motivational speech, especially at the end. So yeah, guys, wow, this is powerful stuff, man. I'm gonna do more of them. Really enjoy doing this. I also want to hear from you in the comments what you think of it. If you want to even want more of these kinds of videos. But all that to say is that, and I'm gonna leave you with this, is that it's scary. It's very scary to be sometimes vulnerable, and in particular in certain settings. But it doesn't mean that because it's scary, you shouldn't do it. The same as he says at the end with his basketball. You don't need to start to go all in. Let's say tomorrow you wake up and you're gonna be vulnerable and authentic and completely yourself. But what you can do is doing it step by step. Okay, so you wanna, as an onion, you peel off the layers and you see where the true source is. Your source, your authenticity. Nothing is more beautiful than that. And from that place, you start figuring out your story. Instead of, most probably, well, a lot of people around the globe have an illusion. They live in an illusion. They don't know what their story is anymore because of how society is, right? So go find that. And if you can, start sharing that because people need it. Okay, now if you need any help with this, of course, we with Authentik Studio do this. As I mentioned, we help big brands to do this too, but we really dive into that. We dive deep into, okay, what is your essence? How can you share it? And we teach you also to be on camera, you know, how to use your voice. And eventually, if you do run a business, we can also, of course, help you to produce that content. What will, if you saw other videos, have way more engagement, way more lead generation. I mean, the numbers don't lie, especially in the AI revolution. All right, guys, thank you for watching. See you next time and stay authentic.